Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the Full Quarter Podcast. My name is Mpho and I've got Tim DeLace here with me. Tim, how are you doing?
All good, man. All good. All the better for us getting over the line. Just
Look, the West Indies try to take us down into the gutter, but as Rassi says, we can wrestle in there as well, and the Proteas managed to do that, so that's a good thing. But for those who are new, who don't know, this is South Africa's number one cricket podcast. We are live on YouTube at the Full Quarter Podcast. Please find us there, and also on Apple and Spotify for the audio version. But you can find us on Twitter or X. We need to call it X. Can't call it Twitter. You can find us on X at Full Quota Pod. You can see that at the bottom in the strap line, and follow us there. Also on Instagram at Full Quota Pod. And yeah, if you want to support us, please do on all the platforms. We are live on X now. We sorted out the issues that we had. We are live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. So please do support us, share as widely as possible. And yeah, that's what it is. So this weekend, the Proteas won the second test in Guyana against the West Indies to win the Sir Vivian Richards trophy. It's actually quite funny, Tim. West Indies don't beat us in the Caribbean. They haven't done so in 20 years, and it just continues. It's a really sad statistic, but I'm happy that we didn't create history this weekend, because I, unlike Temba and Shukri and everyone else in that test team, I want them to play in the World Test Championships. I have plans for them. They may not have plans for me, but I've got plans for them. And they end at Lords next year. So yeah, I don't know about you, Tim, but I'm happy that we managed to get out of that with a win.
no, I certainly am. Look, I suppose there was a sort of a tiny bit of a neutral part of me going, it would be a wonderful thing if they did get over the line, in terms of it from a neutral point of view. But when it came down to the nitty-gritty, when it came down to needing 40 odd to win, I'm afraid my choices were getting a little bit too tense for my life.
Look, Saturday night wasn't the best of nights for them to do that to us. But look, the West Indies put up a fight. They're a much better side than what we saw. I just wish they could trust their fast bowlers enough to give them a wicket that works for them. Obviously, we saw in Guyana, Shamar Joseph, Jaden Seals, just incredible bowling from them, and obviously they got extra assistance from the pitch. But I kind of feel like even if the plat was, if obviously the pitch was slow and low, and you're working on that, but even on a normal bouncy wicket, these guys are going to be a handful. And they've got a fast bowling locker now. Kemal Roach is old-ish, close to retirement age, but obviously with Jimmy Anderson, he's got 4 more years, 5 more years, who knows. But you've got Seals, you've got Shamar Joseph, you've got the other Joseph. Sorry. Yes. And you've got something building there that's really, really nice. You've also got the spinners as well. So they're building something from a bowling perspective, and I thought try to trust them a lot more. Try to trust your batters to bat on wickets that actually can give them something and play their natural game, because I felt in this test match, Tim, the reason why South Africa won was largely out of experience. South Africa have seen these slow and low pitches from around the world. I don't think these young West Indians have experienced slow and low pitches, i.e. a trip to the subcontinent. I remember obviously they beat, was it Sri Lanka or Bangladesh? Bangladesh. But this is a totally different side, totally different batting lineup, right? And so all I got from that test match, when I looked, I was like, no, that's experience. We've got Kagiso, we've got Keshav who can bowl, but from a bowling perspective, I think we were largely even. The difference was the batting. We got extra runs where we needed to. That partnership between Dane Pete and Andre Berger, if we didn't have that.
The difference.
Yeah. But how did you? Yeah. So let's go through that second test and go through that. Obviously, pitching conditions. We expected that. Mashal told us about it, slow and low. But that collapse on day one, I looked at some of those wickets going, there's a point where it becomes the pitch, but there's a point where common sense needs to kind of come in. You know, they speak of, what is it? Being idiocy is or something like that. Being stupid is repeating the same mistake over and over again, expecting the same results. I don't know what the I think it's
yes.
Yeah,
But people get the idea. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. When will our batters learn to adapt? Because all I saw was Tony got a low one. I'm sorry, Tony. It happens. Bavuma gets one that's unbelievable, unplayable, literally. You know, when do we start? When does the rest of the batting orders look at each other, going, "Okay, fine, it's not batting in the same way. It's requiring me to be a little bit different, and to at least stick in." My issue was, especially with Aiden's wicket. Fine, you can say it was a good ball because a bowler's supposed to bowl the top of off. But if you know he's supposed to bowl the top of off, isn't a batsman's job supposed to be to protect the 3 stumps? And to leave on a wicket you've seen and the thing is, Aiden, it's not like Aiden was in the dressing room, and everyone's gonna say I'm picking on Aiden, but it irritated me. That wicket irritated me so much. You're watching Tony de Zorzi struggle, and you watch that ball jag back in. You watched Bavumo's a right-hander, the ball jag back into you. Yet you want to leave a ball that is in the corridor of uncertainty, and you are like, no, it's fine. I'm going to leave it. It's not going to cut back in. And then it takes you off stump, and you look like, I know it's a split-second decision, but when will we learn? Carl Verreynne walking across the stumps. Carl, you got bowled on leg stump. Like, I don't know. So I sit there going, our batters are better than this, but we're allowing the conditions to come like be like to take away our thinking and our ability to adapt. Is that what you saw? Because I'm not willing to excuse the pitch alone. There was some bad batting there and bad decision making.
Okay, there's a lot in there.
I'm angry. Sorry.
Yeah, no, and I sympathize. I'm just trying to come up with the right response without just rambling on. I look at that team. I look at that performance with the bat. I haven't really learnt anything. I haven't actually learnt anything prior to that series. I still have issues with Tony at the top. I'm not saying you can't do it. I have my issues with this. I think a more consistent bowling attack, Australia, England, and India, makes his life hell. He plays at virtually every single ball in the corridor of uncertainty. Virtually everything. He never leaves the ball. The difference between him and Zach Crawley's got a very good eye. Exceptional eye. I don't think that Tony is of that quality. That's just my own opinion. Number 3, he might become a number 3. He may well become a number 3 in the next 18 months to 2 years. It is possible because of his talent. Right now, he's not a number 3. The experiment with Tristan Stubbs didn't work. It because of West Indies' failings, it didn't cost us, but it didn't work. Those are glaring for me, absolutely glaring. Carl Verreinne's got the same issues that he's always had. He's always had those issues. He's always had those issues.
How he got out in that second innings bothered me even more.
He's always going to be susceptible to the ball that's coming back in at him because he's trying to nullify the swinging ball. He comes across too far. So when you've got somebody who has got enough pace, like a Shamar Joseph, he's always going to struggle. Unless he changes his technique, he's always going to struggle. So I've got, when we play those better teams, with all due respect to the West Indies, I don't think the batting lineup is going to do better. They are still going to have the same problems.
So if I
That
look
is
at,
yeah.
cool, just finish and then I'll.
No, so that worries me.
Mhm.
That really worries me. Shukri is lucky that we've got Sri Lanka and Pakistan at home. He is very, very fortunate that he's
Aren't we
got
playing
those two.
Bangladesh away?
We're playing Bangladesh away as well. He is very,
Wha-
very fortunate.
Okay,
in
let's
who
say
we're
this.
playing.
Let's say this. We are very fortunate that we don't see the big three, which is why, and you can go back to many podcasts back when we spoke about this. I was like, we're not playing. We're playing India at home. We don't play England or Australia, and New Zealand away is your big one, and they're not dreaming of the World Test Championship. We were lucky to get away with that on the weekend. I hope they learned, because when they go to Bangladesh, you're going to get the same thing. I'm happy that we've now got Dane Pete and Keshav. So from a spinning perspective, that's good. And Pete showed us a little bit with the bat. I'm happy. I'm good with that. But the batsman, guys, come on. And to a certain extent, one of the greatest coaches in the world, NFL coach, Bill Belichick, always spoke about making the team play left-handed, right? And that is making them play, and you must live in your weaknesses. You must be able to try win a game with the opposition just hammering at your weaknesses. West Indies try to do that, and we got away here. But Bangladesh at home, away from home, could be different. But we need to learn to play left-handed. And every time I watched us bat in those 3 days, it was, what are we learning to be able to adjust? And we've been here before and we can get away, and a lot of the guys can score runs. And we saw that in the second innings. Ryan Rickleton scored runs. Not Rickleton, sorry. Carl Verena scored some runs. Vian Mulder stuck around with him, and Vian gave us what Vian does. 34, then decides to have a brain fart. But in terms of adapting your batting style to play in an environment where you are uncomfortable, this team has failed dismally. Well, not dismally, but they failed. I was not happy with the batting performance there. We were lucky that KG and Keshav were just out of this world, and that Dane Pete and Andre Berger partnership saved us and saved our bacon. But we could be sitting here asking ourselves what went wrong. We were so close to see. We were one partnership, 11th wicket partnership away from sitting here going, that was a shambles. But it was. From a batting perspective, it was. David Bedingham didn't give us any runs. Tony DeZorzi averaging 40 with 168 runs was largely because of the first test, right? But he did well in the first test. Temba did well in the first test, but we didn't win. In the second test, when we needed it, they just didn't arrive. David Bedingham didn't arrive. Tristan Stubbs didn't arrive. I don't like the experiment at 3. Temba was non-existent from a runs perspective in this match, and Aiden was there. He helped. Opening partnership was great. It was strong. He put down some runs, but largely, if we look at the batting, there's the only person we could make an argument for is Vian, because you saw improvements, and we are even questioning whether Vian should be even in the team, even after what he's done. And that for me is a massive indictment to the side. And yeah, Tim.
Oh no, I was just gonna touch the only improvement of the batting was Vian. Every time he batted, he looked like he belonged. He looked like he was assured of what he was supposed to do. He looked like he was a man who was determined to prove himself. And in terms of, there's a reason why he got mad at the match, not just
Yes.
because of the ball, both because he performed in both facets.
And well done to him. And we want more. I'm at. Are you at the point to give Vian another shot at 7?
I'm not dropping him now. I'm not. I'm giving him an extended run now because of
To
the
Bangladesh.
maturity that I'm giving him that extended run now because of the maturity that he showed. I'm not going to go to him. You know what? Thanks, but we're going in a different direction. No. He now deserves a longish run in the
What
side.
about the guy? What about the guy who's been rested?
No.
Who many think has proven himself to be a better batter at this level than Vian.
He can stay rested. Vian has come in. Vian has proved himself. Look, Marco is going to come back at the side. Of course, he's going to come back into the side. It will come down to the makeup of the 11.
Yes.
You could easily bring in Marco for Berger. Easily.
Or for Dane Pete if you're going to go in with 3 seamers and Keshav, and then Vian is your 7. So you have a 7 and 8 axis of Vian and Marco, which is pretty decent.
Yeah.
Look, it's better than what we've had.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
So
no, I'm not
dropping from coming in at number 8. So that was the one, right? But let's actually talk about King Keshav. Top wicket taker in the series. He was just unplayable at times. Seriously unplayable. He got us out of a hole whenever we needed to. 13 wickets at 16. And nobody hit double figures. We were worried about taking 20 wickets. He did it. He contributed as much as he can. And whenever we needed, even in the back end, when West Indies started getting down to 100 needed to win, but they had like 4 wickets to go. And then Keshav and Dane Pete were taking wickets. And you're like, yes, let's go. And then there was a partnership, a 50-run partnership. And like, okay, so how is it going to be broken? KG came through, but Keshav was on the other end, building pressure, doing what he needed to do. Is Keshav not the best spin bowler in the world? Can I go to Australia and say,
I was going to say, Lion might question that. I personally think Keshav is a better bowler than Lion because I think Keshav's got more variety. His variety is subtle. It's not extravagant. It's not a big turnip, but he's got various changes in pace, and in terms of his variety, in that what he does to the ball, he entices batters to take risks. I don't think Lion does that. Lion is very consistent, so you become frustrated on his consistency. Whereas I think Keshav works it a bit more in trying to get you out without you actually realizing it. You think he's just putting it there on the spot. He's not. He's thinking about how to get you out in the best way possible. You just look at the dismissal of Holder. I think Holder dismissal was absolutely crucial because Holder has been really exceptional for the West Indies in this series in terms of the glue within the side, and just topping that ball just a fraction shorter, making Holder think he's at the pitch, but he wasn't. I think he was exceptional.
Yes.
And it has been for some time.
So, is Keshav the best bowler in South Africa right now?
Yes.
And I know there's KG.
I know. I was going to say, I think at times, I think KG has been slightly off the ball. Just at times. But I think that's largely due to the fact of the amount of cricket that he plays, more than anything. In terms of consistency, I think Keshav is.
Okay. He is. Okay. Another key player in the series is Vian. Vian came through with, I wouldn't say flying colors, right? Because I think he was better than the Vian we know. And he came through with, what is it? 75 runs and an average of 37 and a half, which I was surprised by, but very handy knocks and very handy partnerships. I think he just likes playing in the West Indies because he did something similar the last time we went there with the bat. And it was kind of like it gave him a bit of a run in the side, but obviously there was coaching changes. And then he took 6 wickets at an average of 18. He didn't bowl much in that first test. But in the second test, they relied on him a lot. And well done to the Proteas brain trust for realizing that swing was going to work with the new ball. And he did a fantastic job. He's turning the corner. You said you wanted to, he's earned his role. What more do you want to see from Vian?
So I just wanted to kick on a little bit in terms of the batting. So his 41 and 34 in either test were crucial to South Africa's chances of getting a serious victory in different aspects. Those partnerships that those runs were made were absolutely crucial. But where he is in his position, you do actually want him to make an 80. You want double that up. If he doubles that 41 to an 82, then it's 9 out of 10. It's a 9 out of 10 for me. He's doing what I expected he might have done with the ball if he got enough overs, which I wasn't entirely sure of at the start of the series. So 9 out of 10 in terms of bowling. I think his bowling was really good. Better at the second test, much better, much straighter. The pitch helped him on that front. But you want more runs. I think you want more runs from him on a more consistent basis. If he has more test series like this, there's no reason why he can't go on and make a 3-figure score with a bat. No, there's no reason why he can't do that.
No, but that's always been the thing with Vian. We know the promise, we know the ceiling, we know the talent, we can see it. It just, he can't put it together. And it's not as though he's running out of batters. He always just throws his wicket away, which is the biggest frustration that I have. But okay, really great series from Vian. He did a really great job. Kagiso towards the back end on Saturday when we needed him, he showed us who he was. And I was really impressed by him. Missed out on wicket number 300, but he needs to go to Bangladesh to get 300. Incredible catch from Temba for 299. So that could be memorable. But KG, the moments where he slips in and out of games, and in this test series he was slipping in and out of this test series a lot, and just wasn't happy about it. But I can understand. He's playing a lot of cricket, and okay, finally, before we go into the player ratings, we've spoken a bit about Tristan Stubbs, but I think we need to find someone else at 3, Tim, or must we take him to Bangladesh on wickets that aren't the same? Remember when he played against India and made his debut, the pitch was horrible. He arrives in the West Indies, the pitches don't suit him. He then is now going to potentially go to the West to Bangladesh, and the pitches won't suit him there. We're going to play Sri Lanka out of season, so early on in our season, so the pitches might not be ready for that, so he might struggle then. Pakistan, must we wait until we play Pakistan in December for him to be like, now we're here, but that'll be 8 games, six games. But I don't see him at 3. I don't think he has the technique for 3. I think he has the technique for 4, maybe even 5, but I don't think he has the technique for 3. But to a certain extent, Shukri, if you look at TDZ, Tony DeZorzi, Aiden, Tristan Stubbs, all players who want to play the ball in that channel. All of them. Our top 3. No one there is because this is my thing. When I watch a test match, right? A lot of my things is how do I, as a batter in the middle, adjust to the conditions, right? Fine, if I'm playing in South Africa, I can play in the channel, in the corridor, right? I can leave balls outside off stump, but it's about being able to pick and choose where the good and the bad balls, and the 3 of them gladly can identify on good wickets what's a good ball, what's a bad ball, and what needs to be put away, what needs to be left. Get that. When the pitches are slightly lower, not necessarily slower, when the bounce is a lot lower, it brings into question what a good ball and what a bad ball is. And they, for instance, are very trigger happy in that corridor of uncertainty. It's not the extremely wide balls they like to play. They like to play the balls in that fourth, fifth stump channel as well, that are slightly overpitched, right? And that's it's a worry for me. But my question is, can these guys on a day play left-handed where they effectively play leg side? And to a certain extent, it was with Tony's wicket that I thought, yeah, stand on off. Anything on off and middle, we swat away with our bat. Anything outside off and middle, I leave. And obviously the ball's dragging back and everything else, but that's the instinct I would provide, even to the point where I'd move outside of off stump and try and use my trigger movement to play everything leg side instead of trying to play everything outside in that channel onto the offside. Am I being crazy? Because my thing was, it's a pitch where you play leg side. You're like, I don't care anything on the offside. I'm playing everything on the leg side because it's slow, and I can swat away anything that's at my pads.
The only thing with that is you've got to play with a straight bat, because if you play across the line on a low pitch, you're going to find yourself in all sorts of bother. So I hear what you're saying. I prefer to just play through that V. Play through that V. So that's mid on, straight, mid off. Play through the straight bat, and be definitive with your shot making. I think if you cut yourself off, if you go, right, predominantly I'm going to play mid on to mid wicket, I think there's going to be a ball that's going to get you. I think that sooner rather than later, that ball's going to get you.
Okay. No, I was just thinking. I was like, no, guys, like this thing of playing a natural game doesn't work here, because you need good conditions to play natural games, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's certainly true. That's it.
But the worry then for you, Tim, for us all, is that they don't play through the V.
No, they don't. Except, I still don't think he's number 3 at the moment. Tristan tried very hard to do that. You actually watched his innings. He took up a lot of deliveries in his innings. So he had 18 of like 54 balls.
Yes.
So he was fighting against his natural stroke play. He was fighting against that. So that is a credit to him. And when he was playing as straight as possible, which is a credit to him and what he was trying to do. It didn't work, but I could see. That's what I said. I could see him being a 3 in 2 years. Not now, but I could actually see him moving up to a 3.
So what's the development plan for a guy like Tristan Stubbs?
So Shukri is going to play him through all of this. He's going to play them at 3 throughout the series. Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan. Injury, as long as he's not injured, he'll play them throughout. My worry is if he fails in those 3 series, the next guy is going to come up against Bumrah. So they can eventually going to have to go, Tristan, take a break. That next guy is going to play against Bumrah
in India
and Atkinson in England, and you're going to really, really struggle.
Or Jofra.
That's my issue. That's my worry.
Yeah.
That's,
Look, yeah, I don't know. Who's that number 3? Because if I look at domestic cricket, I would have tried Ryan Rickleton at 3.
There aren't glaring names. I can give you 4s. I can give you 5s. I can give you 6s. threes are not coming through the woodwork. They're not putting their hands up, and that
Mm.
is an issue, a wider issue. I don't think that's a South African thing. I think the best option, as you said last week, would be Ryan. Ryan has scored a lot of runs at the top of the order. It's one down. It works
Yeah.
from all those points of reason. It might not work in practice, but at least it makes a lot more sense than having
Mm.
Tristan there. That's the
Yes.
point.
Because you kind of get a sense of someone's learning on the job. He has the ability, he has the talent to do it, but effectively, you are effectively saying, no, keep at it. You'll get better. And we're okay to let go of big runs at three up until you get to a point where you can swim and thingy. And to a certain extent, the Keegan Peterson pans would have been like, but then why not just keep KP? He fits everything because you don't have the same type of batter in there, right? Timber's more of a conservative batter than the others, but we've got three attacking batters at the top. You've got Timber in the middle. You've also got David Bedingham at 5, who you could say is a little bit more conservative, but he's a natural stroke player, is really good at what he does. And then obviously you have Cal Verena, who's attacking. So you've got 4 out of the 6 who are attacking batters, and you've got 2 conservative batters, but those 2 conservative batters are sitting at 4 and 5. And normally I'd like one conservative at the top with an attacking, and then you can then do the cascading of however many. But right now we open the gates with aggression, and we found ourselves in weird positions. But so far in the West Indies didn't punish us. We had good opening partnerships. Tristan actually did really well to kind of, from a partnership perspective, to hang around, waste a lot of balls. He kind of showed what you want in a 3, but our issue is he's just he's learning on the job. So you're not gonna get a big boy 100. You might get 100, but you won't get like a 150, 200 because this guy's playing outside of what he naturally knows. And I don't know how it works for a youngster in Test cricket to be able to do this. You're seeing how hard it is with the West Indians to bat in their natural positions against a high quality attack, relatively now. But bring that
Yeah.
back to the South African newbies. Is the plan then to rely on the senior players? And I think it is. It's relying on Timber, on Aiden, and to a certain extent, Kyle and David Bedingham to kind of, it feels to me Tristan's runs are a bonus, but they should never be a bonus.
Not a
Unless
three. Not a three.
unless you're batting him at 6.
Yeah. Which you could, and then you could make an argument that they are a bonus because of the way that you want them to play. Just to put a positive spin on it. So during the series, an English journalist contacted me about the South African side, and he said, "What an exciting top 6! If they make it, that could be an incredibly exciting period for South African cricket." Now, I know what he means. I know what he's saying. He's saying it's South Africa's version of baseball. That's what he's saying. All attacking players playing attacking cricket, putting pressure on the bowlers. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Because we really got very close to losing this Test series. So I only pointed out to try and give an outsider's point of view and what they thought when they looked at the 11.
But Tim, you can still get there with Ryan Rickleton. It's still exciting. Tristan and Ryan are Tristan has a higher ceiling as a cricketer, but Ryan's the guy who's in form, who is attacking, who is racking up a lot of runs, and he's the guy we want to see in there. If you want to reward form fully, not this one test on, one test off thing. And you can still get to the same answer with someone who's played in the top 3. But
Yeah,
because we want to fit him in, this is how he gets fit in. Unless if they're expecting Timber to retire in the next 2 years. which would mean then Tristan would drop into that middle order. David probably goes up to 4. Tristan goes to 5, and then you can fit Ryan Rickleton in. It'll be an easy thing, but I don't think Timber's going anytime soon. Okay, let's do player ratings. We got close to losing this test series. Let's start at the top. Tony DeZorzi. I gave Tony a 7. Highest run scorer, highest average. Obviously inflated by the first test, but in the second test, I thought it was a struggle and we kind of saw his deficiencies. I don't want to give him an 8 because I felt like an 8 was for a guy who actually scored 100 and nobody in this team scored 100. So Tony sits at 7.
Yeah. My initial mark here is a little bit harsh, so I'm gonna bump it up just slightly, just because I'm basing it a little bit on how he gets out, and that's a little bit harsh, but that's it. So I'm going 6.5.
Okay.
I'm going 6.5. It's decent. But you're going
Needs to tighten it up a little bit. That's the message from us all. Good series. You showed us your potential. We know that you have the potential. We just need you to tighten it up a bit and actually convert the starts, because you're not getting out cheaply outside of that first innings. But we agree with that first innings. Yeah. But you are building a partnership with Aiden. It's about now putting the team and yourself. When you get a partnership, you put the team first. That's good. 50 runs without wicket. That I trust you. But then we need that more. We just a little bit more. Yeah. Just need him to take the step up. And you have the best opportunity of anybody in the team because you're open. Cool. His batting partner, Aiden Markram, I gave him a 6. I think Aiden also got a half century, but it was a half century in that second innings, in that last test, if I'm not correct. And he scored 112 runs at 28. So if you take that half century out, it looks measly, because that half century was effectively, it didn't matter in the context of that game. But I don't want to do that. It still looks bad at 28. We can't have many more at that average, and so it's a 6 for me, largely because you batted in tough conditions. It should have been a 5. If we were in England or South Africa, it would have been a 5, even probably a 4.5. But because of the conditions that you were given, and the fact that you did try and like nullify the attack as much as you could, it's a 6 for me.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go away from that. I'm gonna go 6. Needed to be more. Somebody of his stature, of his experience, where he is, he needs to acclimatize better when things are not perfect and flat and wonderful and easy to bat on.
Yeah, that's true. The other one is Timber. Tristan. Sorry, Tristan Stubbs gets a, from a batting perspective, he second highest run scorer, 138 runs at an average of 34.5. In his first outing at number 3, also managed a half century. Although it was attacking, and we can debate as to whether we included because it was that second innings from the other day, but we saw promise. We saw what I liked a lot of it. I just didn't like him chasing everything outside the off stump. So I gave him a 6.5. Most likely, maybe even push it up to a 7, because if I'm happy with Tony's performance, I'm happy with Tristan's performance. So 7 for me for Tristan Stubbs. Obviously, I'm still worried about the experiment, but I think the talent's there. He did better than some of the experienced players in the team. So 7.
Yeah, and I think I gave a 6, but I think you're right. I think his accumulation of deliveries, his chewing up deliveries, did make it easier for the others that came in. That's he didn't just make 2 and then get out. He showed promise, certainly showed promise. I hate the experiment. I really do. I really, really hate the experiment. I get it. I just wish we did. I wish we went the conventional way. I don't like South Africa doing conventional things, but conventional way is start at 6, move to 4, finish at 3, done.
Not the other way around. Okay, cool. Temba Bavuma, 105 runs at an average of 35, also with a half century, but it was an 86 at a time where the game was still going in that first test. After that, he just couldn't score a run. I'm giving him a 6.5, largely also because of his captaincy. So we won fine, but the batting wasn't great. I think you and Aiden were largely similar to 6, but you have the burden of captaincy, so I'll give you a half mark for that. But other than that, not the best of series for Timber.
I'm gonna go 6 again. Very, very boring, and I know, but I don't really have anything to add. I think, as I say, the best aspects of his series are his captaincy, in terms of particularly the first test when Ngidi and Morda were giving you nothing with the ball. That was a challenge. That was a challenge to have to rotate 3 bowlers over and over and over again. So that takes a bit of a bit doing. So solid 6 for me. Nothing spectacular.
Okay. David Bedingham. David's numbers weren't pretty. He 57 runs at an average of 19 in 3 innings. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, wow. Problematic times. Yeah, a 4 for David Bedingham. I'm sorry, Tim. It's a 4. Could even be less, actually.
I'm going less, Reed. I'm going less.
Okay.
I'm going 3. I'm going 3.
Jeez, Tim. Sure.
Look,
I thought I was the harsh one. Okay. The less said about it, the better. I'm not dropping him from this, but
no,
we have noted it.
Yeah. My disappointment is, you know, you're not going to play a lot of Test cricket. This is not England. You're not going to get 12 tests a year. You know what you're going to get. You're in at the first test. You got 29. You're looking really good, and you throw it away. I really, really, really. You can do that for Durham, because next week you're playing for Durham again. It doesn't matter. You're playing again. The next time will come around, he will undoubtedly score runs because of his talent. You're only going to get so many chances in a test unit of where the Proteas are at the moment. You've got to take each and every single one of them. And then whatever happens in the second test, you have a bad test. That happens. The point is, you were in form, you're looking good, and you just gave it away. So that, for me, is a 3.
Another one to note, he was dropped from the first test. Had to give Ryan Rickleton a 4. It's not of his own doing. Everyone got 2 chances. He only got 1. Scored 19 runs. It could even be worse, but I gave him a 4 because also management. Ryan doesn't bat at 6 or 7. He bats at 3 or 4 or 1 or 2. So yeah, I think he just wasted an opportunity. But yeah, it's I don't know how the relationship with Ryan Rickleton is going to go forward in this team, if he's going to be the next batter up. It's not going to help him, and his career is going to have these types of innings where every time he plays, he must always shoot the lights out. If he doesn't, he's not going to play the next game. It's just horrible. It's what Keegan Peterson was in the India series. He played the first game, didn't play well, never to be seen again. And I hope this is not the last time we see of Ryan. But yeah, there's nothing we can do there.
Yeah, I'm got nothing to add there. I've gone 4.5, just on the difficulty of the conditions, the pitch, and he wasn't behind nothing. If he was going to score runs, it would have been exceptional, but it was tough going.
Carl Verena, 119 runs at an average of close to 40. That 59 was the 150 that he scored, but it was in a time we actually needed him to actually push on and actually push it to 100, but had a lot of key partnerships along the way. And there's some improvement there, even though we look at him and you're like, oh man, that technique, it's it's still there, but he's managing and he's living in that. So I actually gave him a 7, similar answering to Stubbs and Dezorzi. Not happy, but I can see if you get more games, there's a room for improvement, and he did really well on some very tricky pitches.
Yeah, look, I gave a 7 also because I thought he was very good behind the stumps on a difficult pitches where the balls were bouncing in front of him often, and was quite a challenge in terms of the keeping. I thought he did decently with the bat, despite his very obvious technical faults. But I think all in all, he could be really fairly proud of his performances. Solid 7.
Yeah. Vian Mulder scored 75 runs, an average of 38, and he also took 6 wickets, an average of 18. Also took away a man of the match. Really, really stuck into the West Indies up front with the ball that swings, and for that he gets an 8. I think it's a type of contribution we want from an average all-rounder in a series, and the only issue is obviously it's the runs that we want more of. And I think if he got more, he'd be moving into the realms of the Keshavs and potentially the Gagisos in terms of the high 90% type ratings. But I thought it was a good series for him coming back. He's a changed man. You can see he's very different in terms of the way he sees the game. We just want him to assert himself more in the game. I'd have loved for him to see him bowl a lot more in that first test, but what we want in South Africa, it's really tough, is the batting, but he's also important with the bowling, and he showed that in the second innings, the second test.
Yeah, I've gone for 7.5, which to me, it's not a bad thing. 7.5 is good. I just hope that this is a corner turned. I really do. I hope this is not a good series. This is a tough turn of corner. Everything to me indicates that it may well be, particularly with the batting. And I think it could be a really good run-in for him now. Looking forward to seeing him cement his place now.
Yeah. Keshav Maharaj, superstar student in the class, 90% easy. I'm not going to fight it. Keshav, 13 wickets at 16, highest wicket taker in the series. Yeah, best bowler in the country.
9.5 for me.
Oh,
9.5. I've gone big. Get rid of all those boring sixes.
No, he's like you can't say much more. Superb, unbelievable. Keshav, from the doubts we had over the last 4 or 5 years to him growing into the side and becoming the leading bowler. He can lead this attack. That's how great it is for me, that I don't need to rely on a fast bowler to lead an attack. I've got a spinner who can do the exact same thing. And once he comes on, there's most likely he's going to steal a wicket here and there, even with a hard ball. That's fantastic. Unbelievable. Well done, Keshav. Kagiso Rabada, gave him an 8. I thought he led the fast bowlers well. He came in when we needed him, especially on Saturday night. And yeah, he is still amazing. Probably greatest bowler we'll ever have in South Africa. And we just need him to get over that 300 run threshold so we can start having those debates and start putting Kagiso up there. Because KG, man, what a legend, what a bowler. And he's only he hasn't even turned 30 yet. So I think we've got about 6 years of this. And I can't wait for older KG to come and still steam in. He keeps his body well, he keeps everything right. And I think we've got a very long time with him. I just hope he doesn't retire once he gets to 300.
I wanted to give up a format, but that's for him to decide. I think if we give a format, we've got him for a long time.
He must give up ODIs. We don't need him for ODIs.
Yeah. In terms of the series, a solid 8. Uh,
Mm,
when it was needed, and it was needed in our second test, he stood up, and
mm.
champions stand up.
Yeah. So now we go to the guys who only played one test each. Dane Pete, I gave him a 5. I actually no 6 because that innings, the batting innings with Nandre was really important. He did a job when he was needed. He didn't bowl much in the second test, but he took wickets. He got Holder, he got Athanaz. Or did he get Alec? Yeah, I got Athanaz, and I think he got Holder, or whomever it was. But did really well. I was happy with Dane Pete as the second spinner and his role there.
I gave a 7 purely on the importance of that partnership.
Oh,
Um,
Tim's feeling
yeah,
generous.
I'm feeling very generous. Um, I think that partnership cannot be understated in terms of the importance. And also, I thought to have that sort of difference in terms of spin bowling, it wasn't as accurate as Keshav, but he spun it a heck of a lot more. Um,
Mm,
and the West Indies didn't really have an answer. They hit him for a couple of lusty sixes, but in general, that extra turn did cause a lot of problems. And I'm glad he got a couple of wickets at the end as well. He certainly deserved them. So for me, 7.
yeah. Uh Nandre Berger. I gave him a 6. I thought in that first innings in that game, he was really important. He came through. Second innings, he kind of faded away a bit. But yeah, I gave him a solid 6. I thought he also that partnership was really important. So good outing for him. It's not a drop him. It's not like I'm gonna drop him from that. I actually would like to see more of him. I think he adds a little bit more to our pace attack, especially with that left arm seam.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna go 6. I just would like him to be a little bit more, just put a little bit more straighter. And there
Mm.
were times in the second test where I got a little bit frustrated when he was striving for the money ball rather than bowling quick enough and not having to push it. And he was bowling a lot of wide deliveries, but a solid 6.
Okay. And then lastly, Lungi Ngiti, the one I think who's this series, he lost a lot of equity amongst South African fans and the cricket community. I had to give him a 4, similar to David Bedingham, but obviously David's new. And Rickleton, you can't fight it. I just thought Lungi just was undercooked in that first test, and we all could see it. And it doesn't bode well for him. But what we want is we know how great he can be, and we just want him back because we're seemingly resting fast bowlers. So I don't think we can afford to. But a Lungi Ngidi is still important to the test side, and my belief, the World Test Championship final. I think when we arrive in England, we're going to arrive with Gerald, Kagiso, Lungi, Nandre, and that's the 4 we're gonna. And then obviously Marco and Vienna as the all-round options. But that's
Yeah,
what it is, and you need
yeah,
a cupboard, a pace cupboard, and if Lungi's losing pace, it becomes a lot more problematic for us going forward. But there are guys in domestic cricket who are putting their hands up, and that's where I think this performance, it kind of brought Lungi back to, okay, who's the next best in domestic cricket, and is he better? And sadly, I think there are a couple of guys who are putting their hands up in that. Even though Lungi,
yeah,
in a limited overs context, he's just unbelievable. But yeah,
yeah.
sadly, it's a 4.
It's a different kettle of fish when he plays with the white ball. Yeah, I'm not going to differ from you. I'm just going to say concur with everything you've said. I also gave him a 4. Just as you say, I think the most important thing with we said was he looked undercooked. That was the issue more
Yeah.
than anything else.
Okay, that closes out the test series. There's a T20 series that starts on the weekend. The teams are out. We'll talk a little bit more about that on Thursday if we can. But SA emerging has been in Zimbabwe. Really, really exciting side. Gives you a sense of the youngsters coming through the system, the domestic cricket system, captained by Mihlali Mpongwana in the test matches. We won the test series 1-0. And then we went on to the ODIs. Mihlali captained the ODIs, the first two, and then the last one, it was Mudiridi Diteko, former Titans batter. Really, really awesome. Mihlali stand out, did well. The bowlers stood well. Tristan Lees, they did really well. Dando Zuma, the wicketkeeper, played quite well. But most importantly was the batting. The Sejo Senekwane, double century. Also then got another century in the ODIs. Mudiri Teko also was in the runs as well. He thrived in that. And if everyone's looking for black batters, Mudiri Teko, Lesego Senekwane, and Dile Simelane also was in the runs there. Mihlali Mpongwana is an all-round option. He gives me poor man's version of Jason Holder with a ceiling that can get close to if he can get close to like 65% of Jason Holder, we've done an amazing job. But gives you those vibes, bowls well, bats well. He's also a guy, if you're looking for an all-rounder in the test side, he comes from Cape Town too, Shukri, if you need that little situation, he's, maybe. I don't know. He's also, a black African, just putting it out there. I don't know. You've picked people for less. So, but it was an incredible season from the guys in Zim, and I was really impressed by them. They really did well. Well done to Mali and team.
Yeah, I just want to touch on it quickly. People don't know what SA Emerging is. So SA Emerging is basically the bridge between SAA and the domestic setup. So it's an in-between side. The majority of the side were 25 and under. So these are young, up-and-coming, talented players. The only ones that I could find that are the exception are Cody Yusuf and Senekwane, who are 26 and 27. The majority of the squad is under that. So it's young, up-and-coming, talented individuals who have all been doing well domestically, being rewarded to close that gap between the domestic setup and the A setup. So it's a great initiative, great series. It was.
We need more of those.
We need more of those. We will be touching on the A series, which is happening at the end of the month. Don't worry, we will be touching on that as well. So it's important that we shine light on the series, because it shows that these guys do actually have the talent to make the step up.
Yeah, and it was really impressive to see. Really dominant performance from SA Emerging. Okay, that brings us to the end of our show. We'll be back again with a preview of the T20 series. If not, there'll be a review of the T20 series. But how do you find out we'll be back? Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on X, and then you'll know when we go live. And then also for the audio friends and community, Apple Podcast and Spotify. Follow us at Full Quarter Podcast. Outside of that, from myself and Tim, enjoy the rest of the week. Goodbye and lesale kakahiso.